How's it going, folks? It is Matt back with another crypto video, and today I'm joined with Josiah Spackman. So thank you for coming on this channel.
Thanks for having me, man. It's great to be here. I love your videos, and the education that you give the community is really awesome to see. So thank you so much for that, man.
It's my pleasure, man. Thank you for that compliment. So I was looking through your Twitter not that long ago, and I saw a tweet where you were working on a lock for your front door, it seemed, and you were going to use Digi-ID to make that all work. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it was really cool, man. So like I did this thing at my last house. I had the August smart lock, and so if anybody's used them, basically it kind of like it bolts on top of your door, and it'll twist and unlock and things and you can do it through Bluetooth and the likes, but the problem is occasionally their servers will go down, or they're slow to respond, or you're trying to do it out on 3G and it sucks. And so I looked at doing my own thing with Digi-ID back when it was in an early, the first implementation to the Android wallet. And it was cool. I made it work, and I hacked everything together, and I just made it just for me, right? Like, this is just going to be my house, and I was going to be the only one doing it through the back door or whatever, and it worked. But I never we ended up moving out of the house like a week later or something, and I never got around to getting a nice video of it. Anyway, long story short, so I'm talking with Guy Sergey on the Telegram chat, and it comes up again, and I was like, you know what, maybe actually let's do something really cool here, but not just just for me. Let's do this for everybody so that people can grab the code and kind of do it themselves. So we're sort of 3/4 of the way through it at the moment. We've got the project there, and it's really easy to basically take the framework that we've got at the moment for DigiKey and to customize it to whatever kind of, like, if you've got yourself a Raspberry Pi, for example, or something like that, whatever kind of a lock that you've got, and you can then trigger it pretty easily. So we've set up the authentication. You can sign up, you can manage it, you can add your spouse or your kids or anything like that, and it's super easy as well, like really, really easy. And that's what I love about it, is this is a real world, genuine kind of use, like a brilliant use for blockchain and that same kind of technology outside of just payments, and it's super simple and super easy to use. So yeah, I love it, man.
That is fantastic. And you actually answered, I was going to ask, like, if you were working on something that could kind of help people do this to their own houses, because when I saw that you were doing it, I was like that's perfect. Like, that is the best way I could think to unlock and lock your house. So I was hoping that you would provide some sort of how-to or something that we could use to do it in our own homes if we wished. So
exactly, because people are, like, that's the thing. You can see something like that, and if you've got yourself a little Raspberry Pi, it's not hard to kind of jerry-rig a few things together and make it work for yourself. And this is better than a key lock. Like, that's the thing. This is more secure than just using a standard key. Like, that's amazing.
Amazing.
It's super easy to get up and going with as well. And then you can, like, for example, I had my brother house sitting for me a little while ago when I went overseas, and we had to basically go and get a key for him and get that card, and we've actually got to give that key to him, sort of thing. And then what happens when he loses that key, right? Like, that key's gone forever. What are we going to do? Go and replace all the locks? Like, no one wants to have to go and replace the locks in their house. But with DigiKey, yeah, exactly. You can just revoke his login, and what's he going to do? Like, that's it. You're now secure again.
So you can do that. You can do that remotely. You could give access to people and take access away, all from, like, your phone or something.
Yeah, so if you're like, I was away on my honeymoon and stuff like that at the time. So if you're away and you're in Fiji sipping pina coladas, you can still, it shows up in the app and it says, hey, this guy would like access. Do you want to authorize your brother to be able to log into your house? Oh, sure, hit the button, done, and that's it. So he has permission to come and go as he pleases, because he's house sitting. He's going to want to go out and come back and go to work and things like that, right? And then, but that's the thing, is if you've got your traditional key and you lose your key, then what? You can't just say, well, that particular one individual little key on your key ring is no longer valid. That's not how a lock works, unless it's DigiKey, right? Like, right. So it's awesome. We've got this really practical kind of scenario. It solves a genuine problem for people having to get keys recut all the time and things like that. And so imagine something like this at, like, a large kind of apartment complex. Now we're talking, right? Like, now this is super convenient as well. Like,
yeah, I didn't think of that either. Or like a college campus or something, like dorm rooms or classrooms.
Dorm rooms. Like, how perfect is that? You no longer have to get your keys changed.
That's perfect.
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
The locks.
Or worry about students losing their keys, or like a stranger finding it at the bar or something like that. That would be a huge, like, increase of security, I think.
Exactly. And so because it's still, you've got your cell phone, and when you fire up the app, it's still covered by your PIN. But let's say you go and you lose your cell phone. What are you gonna, like, you leave it in a bar. You see those things all the time, like, oh, I had a prototype cell phone and I lost it in a bar. It happens all the time, right? What if you're a college student and you lose your cell phone in a bar? Well, that's still totally fine because you can go and just grab any other cell phone, buy yourself one off the shelf, a couple $100, whatever, restore your DigiByte passphrase, and you're good to go. Like, you're back ready to go again. And because you've got to log in and you'll either scan your fingerprint or your PIN number when you sign into the house, it's still secure even if you lose your cell phone. Like, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
It's a game, like, this is a complete change in the way that we think about security for our homes and for our businesses and for our workplace, and it's fantastic, man.
And
I love it.
that's really like one of the reasons like I love DigiByte so much is like for this use case of Digi-ID. Like, I know people mainly think of it, when they think of it, they think of like websites and logging in and stuff like that, but like just the whole spectrum of applications for this technology, like we were just talking about, doors and stuff, it's really game changing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, I guess. Like, so it's one thing. Obviously, we've got a bunch of exchanges that we're talking with, and I'm in talks with about 7 or 8 at the moment, and they're all kind of looking at Digi-ID, looking to implement it, because that's going to be a perfect scenario, because people are already familiar with it. They're already going to have the DigiByte wallet on their phone. Like, this is great, but it doesn't just end there. There are so many more things that we can do, both with Digi-ID and with the whole blockchain itself, over and above just the kind of the surface level stuff that everybody sort of thinks out as soon as they think of cryptocurrency. Right. So to be able to do these kind of things, it doesn't matter if the price goes up or price goes down. You can still secure your house no matter what happens. Like, that's amazing. Yeah. We've actually just enabled NFC support as well for it. So where there are existing pieces of infrastructure that are out there, like you often see in big corporate buildings, you'll have a swipe card and you pull it off your key and it's on that little stretchy cord and you've got the little, right, like things like that. Or hotels, same deal. You can replace that NFC card instead with your cell phone.
Really?
And so you can use the DigiByte wallet now because we've got NFC support in beta on Android, and we're going to bring it to iOS soon. So you don't even have to go and like rip out all of this expensive infrastructure and things. It can be done, and for a relatively low barrier to entry, like, that's amazing. Everybody's got a cell phone on them these days, so why not? Like, it makes sense, right? Well, have you? There's another demo site as well. You've been to DigiByteForums.io?
You told me about that, but I haven't gone to it yet. I forgot.
Yeah, go on. So bring that one up. This one's really cool. So DigiByteForums.io. Originally, I was actually going to do some forums, but we don't need an additional place for us to further like spread the community out to. We're in communication either on Twitter or on Reddit and things like that. So, but if you go to DigiByteForums.io, it's really quite cool. I'll actually bring it up right now as well myself. DigiByteForums.io.
Yeah, I just
and so yeah, there's links to the app and everything as well, if you don't happen to have it already. So you could literally show up there as a complete stranger and sign up for it. So it says log on or register, and I'm actually going to do just the same. We'll tap on the Digi-ID button here.
I just did the same. I scanned it.
And so then it's going to obviously prompt you for your PIN. If you've never signed in before, it's going to ask you for your name. Now, again, this part is actually completely optional. So you don't have to, like, if you don't ever want to provide like a website with your email address, for example, let's say you're going to a store you've never used before, and you're going to go and you're going to buy something that maybe, let's say it's Walmart or Best Buy, something like that, right? You go there and they ask you for all of this information, like so much information. You got to put your phone number in, you got to put your email address in, you got to put in so much stuff. Why? Like, why do they need that? Better still, whose hands does that end up in with the username, the password, the email address, your cell phone number, and all that stuff when websites get hacked? Like, it's terrible. So by doing something like this, we've literally just asked you for your name, and even that in itself is completely optional. And then you're in. So you can go and you can log out, you can log back in, and it won't prompt you for a name again. But this is how streamlined and how swift and how fast and how secure website authentication can be.
It really is amazing. And what you were just talking about with like when you purchase something on say Amazon and they want all this information about you. I was actually on Anthem ID's website not that long ago, and I saw that I believe it's the Anthem ID Lite, where where you can have all that information pre-saved in your account, and then you simply scan the QR code or give it the access, and then it automatically populates all of
Yeah.
your information for you.
So Antim-ID are doing some really, really cool stuff. So they are a kind of like an add-on, like complementary service over and above Digi-ID. So Digi-ID in itself doesn't ask for any name, any password, no nothing. There's no identifiable information. There's no logging anywhere in the application that's going to keep it saved anywhere or anything at all like that. But what Antim-ID are doing is they're doing a whole lot of really cool stuff where maybe you actually want to save your username, or specifically like your first name, your last name, maybe your address as well. And so when you go to a website, what you can do is you can kind of really just tick the boxes as you're going or something along those lines, right? To provide this website with select little bits of your information. Because not every website needs to know your home address, and you probably don't want to be giving out your home address to, I mean, even if you're getting stuff delivered, you can still get it delivered to a family friend down the road,
Right.
or something like that, right? Like,
Right.
so they're doing some really, really cool stuff around managing your identity. So Digi-ID proves that I am me, pseudo-anonymously, and that's all that it does. And it does it so fast and so securely. But Antim-ID is now adding on additional things on top of it. So in addition to proving that you are you and doing it pseudo-anonymously, you can then also then give people optionally your first name, your last name, maybe a little bit of information like your date of birth, for example, if you're using this for government identification and things like that. So they've been doing some absolutely amazing things, and I can't thank the Antim-ID people enough, especially Jan, who's always in our Telegram chats, for all of the cool stuff that they've been doing.
It definitely is. I love being in the Telegram chats, and it's a great environment. Speaking of like Antim-ID, we got another partner with VID. That's another reason that I guess am watching DigiByte is because of VID and their ability to end document fraud on the blockchain.
Yeah. So VID is actually really quite cool, and it's I suppose a little bit similar to DigiSign. I don't know too much myself about VID. I've not actually used it. I've basically kind of just browsed the website and things like that. But they do some. Again, like you say, like we're solving document fraud here by being able to validate and I suppose notarize documents straight into the blockchain. Like this is more than just me paying you and more than just you paying me. Like this is the kind of thing, no matter what happens in the marketplace, there's always going to be a need for this. And not only just a small need, but this is something that is worldwide. Like we have people already that are using DigiSign, that are Fortune 500 companies that are securing their shipping routes and things like that. And so although I'm going a little bit off on a tangent there, like it's the same sort of thing with VID and the document verification. There's always going to be a need for this. And this is a third party that nobody has to specifically trust anybody else, but you can trust the immutability of the blockchain, basically. So it's a real shift, like a real mind shift. But once you wrap your head around it, and once you kind of dig a little bit deeper into it, and you kind of realize, wow, this is some amazing stuff that we're onto right here.
It really is. So I know you got some dinner reservations coming up here soon, so I won't keep you too much longer. I just wanted to talk about DigiAssets. It is expected to be coming out at sometime this quarter. I was just wondering if you could give us some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so what you're going to see real soon is, I feel like the first thing that we're going to do is we're probably going to release the DigiAssets Explorer, and so you'll see the websites real soon that are kind of available to allow you to explore the assets that have been issued. And so this is cool because you can go into it and you can see a whole bunch of things like, is this locked or is it unlocked? So if it's a locked asset, that basically means that once you've issued your first, let's say 100 billion, whatever, they're locked forever and you can't issue anymore. But if it's unlocked, you could use it for something like an in-game currency. Like, for example, if you're talking with World of Warcraft, like the in-game gold that they use, or maybe it's V-Bucks for Fortnite. And so you can do things like that, and you could issue additional currency, which you could then, like, people can earn in-game, and then they could take that currency and they could actually go and buy and sell things on a genuinely, like, open marketplace.
That's
so we can do in-game, like actual in-game currencies with it. Like that's amazing. That's so cool. But then if you've got like a locked asset, which is basically once it's issued, that's it. There's no more. So you would use a locked asset, for example, if you've got a concert, like a music concert coming up.
That makes sense.
So everyone's going to go and we're going to see the Spice Girls reunion, for example, and there's 30,000 seats. And so what we're going to do is these 30,000 tickets, once they're issued, they're done and they're sold. But the interesting thing is because You can trace this like on a blockchain explorer, just like you could with your buying and selling and sending and receiving of Bitcoin and DigiByte. You can do the same thing with the asset. And so what an event organizer could say is, right, we've seen this, these 30,000 assets, we issued them, and we've sent all 30,000 out to the people who bought the tickets.
So let's
You're not allowed to trade them after that.
Let's say I own one of these 30,000
Yep.
tickets to the Spice Girls concert, and then
Good choice. Yep.
I can't attend it. Since I still own it, am I free to still trade it, sell it, or?
Well, that's the thing. So what we can do is we can solve ticket scalping by the event organizer could then say we're not going to accept any ticket after it's been sold.
Okay.
If it gets traded. So, for example, you have ticket scalpers that go out there and they'll buy like 10,000 of these 30,000 tickets, and they do it in like a couple of seconds.
And then they mark up the price.
Exactly, and so then you're not paying $100 for a ticket, you're paying $400, $500, and although people like the Spice Girls, we don't really like them that much, right? Like $500 is not worth paying it for a ticket. So instead, the ticket scalpers are the ones that make all of that money, and people are being robbed of basically the experience of being able to go in and I mean maybe it's not the best example of the Spice Girls, but whatever, right?
It makes total sense.
Yeah, but so we've gone and we've solved ticket scalping because the event organizers, when you go and you show up and you swipe it, like you could sign in, for example, with Digi-ID as you walk through the turnstile to get through into the stadium. So again, we've got like the whole kind of package going on here, and they basically say, oh look, your ID, you know, your ticket has been traded and it's been traded and it's been traded again. This isn't the original ticket. Look, we're terribly sorry. You know, you're not allowed in. You've used a ticket scalped ticket, and they're not going to let you. So you can do things like that. And so with DigiAssets, we've solved ticket scalping, and we haven't even formally released it yet, right? Like,
right.
How amazing is this?
It is. I'm definitely excited for the launch, and I really can't wait to see like games that start to pop up, you know, and use a DigiAsset as an in-game currency, or you know, if any games that already exist start looking into it. You know, I just can't wait to see, like, because the potential, there's so much potential there. I just can't wait to see it start gaining that adoption.
Well, in addition to there just being potential, right? Like, so everybody's heard of CryptoKitties, and that came out in kind of the end of 2017, and like in November, December was when it kind of hit its stride, and everybody was like, CryptoKitties,
right.
Yes,
gotta have one.
Yeah, but the thing is so Ethereum, basically the chain filled up in terms of the amount of transactions that were being processed. You couldn't trade your CryptoKitties. So DigiByte's already, we're talking, I think we're about 30 times the concurrent transaction capacity of Ethereum, and that's going to, again, further double later on in 2019. But in addition to just being able to buy and sell these CryptoKitties, we can do all of this sort of thing with DigiAssets straight from your mobile wallet. So we're working on it being accessible and easy and straightforward. And so if you wanted to go and issue a CryptoCurrently coin to be able to give to your friends and family, I mean, maybe it doesn't have a whole lot of worth, and maybe it's never going to get listed on Bittrex, for example, right?
Right.
But it's something that you can do, and you can do it from your mobile, and people can do that without technical knowledge, and you can issue these assets and give them to your friends and go, hey, this is just a little token of my appreciation because I think you're a great person, you know? So you can
I think, like, as a YouTuber, it would be cool if I issued my own token or whatever, and then allowed my community to vote on like whatever video they want me to make or something, like by sending it back to me.
And so you could then give that token out to people who comment, right, on a video. And so let's say you've got 500 tokens. The first 500 people to comment below will get this CryptoCurrently token. Cool. Now we've got a really good use for this. You send them out to the people. They put their address like in the comments, and you send them out. This is fantastic. And now you basically say to them, right, what I want you to do is I'm going to have two addresses here. Send your token to this address if you think I should do a video on DigiByte. Send a token over here if you think I should do a video on Digi-ID.
That's fantastic.
And so the people can then vote, and they can send it back. Like, how cool is this?
I'm excited now.
We've ended basically voter fraud as well because they can't duplicate them. Once they've sent them, they can't then magically recreate any more of their own because you created the 500, you locked the asset, and that's it. They're all done. Like, how amazing is this that there's no more like Twitter polls that people can hire Twitter bots for? You know?
You're right. So, now it's the locked asset that you were talking about. There's a set amount of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited now. I didn't even think of like using it in that sense until right here, right now.
Exactly, but there are so many incredible applications. Once you step back and you go, okay, we've got this amazing independent third party, which is the blockchain, which is immutable, but everybody can validate what's going on. Like that's powerful, man. That's incredibly powerful. And then when you take it and you make it super easy for people to participate with the DigiByte wallet on their Android and iOS, and then we add in the scalability of DigiByte, so we can start to handle the transactions for the world here. We're not just talking about like using this once every like blue moon when you go to the concert. Like, what if people are using this kind of thing a dozen times a day? Like that, a dozen times a day is amazing, and that would be fantastic to be able to see that kind of thing. And that's what we're gearing towards with DigiAssets.
I really think in the future it will be. I mean, I'd like to think it would be more than a dozen times, but I love how it scales with adoption, really, in my mind. You know, because people aren't going to just overnight be like, oh, cryptocurrency, everyone needs to buy it now. It's going to take a couple years for people to come to the realization of the potential this technology has and then start adopting it. And I love the fact that DigiByte kind of is going to scale perfectly in that timeline, in my mind, I think.
Yeah, and in addition, like you're right, as people kind of start to pick it up, people are going to pick it up slowly. It's not going to be overnight, all of a sudden, everybody's like, right, I need a finite money supply here that is not a depreciating kind of currency. You know, I'm not going to have to worry about inflation and things like that.
Right.
People don't care. They've got their credit cards, and it's easy to just swipe that. Like, and the bank looks after it, and so people are like, well, if I have to risk a couple of percent in a developed nation like the United States or New Zealand, a couple of percent every year, inflation hits me, it's okay because it's a trade-off I'm willing to make. But if you've got something like DigiAssets or Digi-ID where you can go, you know what, you can log into your house, or you can open your front door securely. You can give out that kind of permission for other people. Maybe you run an Airbnb even, and so you can issue it and have people like allowed to open and unlock, and you can cancel
too. Yeah, hotels
exactly.
And it would save them money. They don't have to buy those cards anymore that people always
the
lose
stupid cards and they fail all the time, and then people lose them, or you go swimming with them, or you put it in your pocket and it rubs up against your jeans the wrong way, and all of a sudden now it stops working and stuff like that, right? Like, think how much money you can save with that, especially because you can automate all of the enrollment process and things too. Now, if someone's gone out and they've gone and used, let's say they've used Digi-ID and they've gone to a hotel and they've got the wallet on their cell phone, and then maybe a year or two down the line, they're like, you know what? I actually want to buy myself some cryptocurrency, and I want to actually go out and I'm going to put $100 into it. What do you think they're going to buy? Like, they're not going to go out and go, yeah, I really need to get me some Bitcoin, $50 worth of Bitcoin, and it's all going to be absorbed in the transaction fees.
Right,
no,
you get $35 of it left.
But they've got the DigiByte application on their cell phone, on their Android or their iOS phone. I can guarantee that's going to be the first thing that pops into mind. So although Digi-ID doesn't require any DigiByte to use, people installing the application on their cell phone and starting to use it, getting familiar with it and using the technology. It's kind of like people were, you know, back in the day when the internet first started out and people had emails and things like that, and it was all very, whoa. But then they started getting used to it. It was just like an electronic letter, and then we have instant messaging, and now we have social media and things. It didn't all kind of hit us all at once. And when you're trying to sign your grandma up, she doesn't want to know about Facebook because, you know, she struggles to turn the computer on, let alone type an email. Right. So you introduce her to an email. And so that's the kind of thing that we've also got with Digi-ID, is these additional services that are on top of just being able to send value between you and me. And I think that's an incredibly important point of difference for DigiByte.
I think so too, because, you know, people aren't like, I don't see cryptocurrency really being spent as a daily currency like for some time, but technologies like Digi-ID stand to be adopted before a day-to-day currency does, and that's why I like DigiByte, is because, you know, people are going to become aware of it through these other use cases, and then when the time comes where people do spend cryptocurrency at the point of sale on a daily basis, you know, they'll already be aware of DigiByte, and they'll be like, oh, I've been walking into my house with this for years, but now I can use it as money too. Like, you know, that's just my...
Yeah. That's the realization I totally agree. I think people are going to kind of come to that, and they'll go, you know what? We're not overnight going to replace the US dollar. The government's just not going to care. They're not going to allow it. They're not interested. They can print money. Why do they want Bitcoin or DigiByte? They can print money. I mean, maybe they'll make it a DigiAsset. Hey, now we're actually onto something, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is like you say, like, so they'll start using it, and they'll use it a little bit here, and maybe they'll use DigiAssets, and then maybe one day the entire of the United States currency is replaced by something like DigiByte. And that's okay, because they'll then have DigiByte already in their wallet. They'll be familiar with it, and so it is that kind of nice way to just ease people into it and just get them used to it, and rather than just kind of hammering it into them, right? Like,
Right, like,
this is cryptocurrency. We're changing the world, and there's no more banks, and it is
now.
very different, you know?
Right, yeah. It makes complete sense, but I'll let you go now. I know you got dinner coming up. So thank you so much for coming on this channel. It was a fantastic chat.
Let's do it again sometime then.
I'm down 100%. So, yeah, take care, man.
Thank you so much.